Finance Committee meeting April 8th, 2015. Minutes, 3:11.
Move to approve. Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Minutes, Executive Committee, March 11th.
Move to accept. Move to accept. Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Thank you. Okay, we got a bunch of things to talk about tonight, and hopefully it won't be a big, long meeting. I just have a few things. First, I received this resignation in the mail today from Will. And we need to accept the resignation of the now Selectman Wilson Kay, former member of the Finance Committee.
Move, Mr.
I'll happily
Chairman.
make that motion.
Move, and can we send him a note of appreciation?
Say again?
May we send him a note of appreciation?
Tell him right over there.
May we send him a note of appreciation?
Sure.
Thank
He's not listening, so.
Oh, I'm listening, I'm still distracted by what my best friend said.
Wish I was happy where he moved up. He's moving up in the world.
Any discussion? All in favor? We'll miss you.
Well, not all of us.
All right. We have a couple of discussions on the budget. Everybody has a budget book.
We do.
The subcommittees have met with everybody. All budgets but two have been submitted. I have a general list that I didn't send out to everybody, so I went through this and called or asked a few department chairmen, department heads to come in and discuss some of their issues that why they were over budget. We've had a few over budget. The overall budget, if everything finishes the way we think it'll finish, will go up about 3.5% total budget, being 90,388,000 and change. But I'm still waiting on the school department, and we still haven't discussed the IT budget. So we're in pretty good shape, I think, right now. So first on the list is the highway department, and that is, I'll find it.
421.
Yeah. Close enough.
What is this, Scott?
The reason I asked the highway department to come in is that general expenses went up 12% in 421. And I just think we deserve an explanation of why. We went from 60,287 to 67,500.
All right, well, first, our electric, we both put $5,000 more in that. So that was a big jump.
Was that include the electric?
Yes.
Can we have, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm within the
Basically, we have
2%.
no discussion. I
Yeah.
thought, I missed that one, I guess, I'm sorry.
Our supplies and office, 4215420, went up. We are putting a new server in our office.
Putting in a server? Okay, so somebody has to ask the question.
I'm totally confused. Why are we investing in servers before we have a plan?
That was a good question.
Because I have an outdated one that's not quite cutting it at this moment.
Is it critical that it's done like now versus maybe 6 months from now when we can make sure it's part of an integrated town plan? You laugh.
Oh, if that's the plan, I mean, I'm not aware of that plan, to be honest with you. I mean, it's stuff I hear floating around, but
If I could drift a bit, yes.
Drift
What we're
away.
waiting for is a total integrated plan that will address the town needs. My concern, Scotty, is that in the past, everybody's gone off and done their own little patchwork. And then you find out, well, it doesn't quite fit, and it doesn't quite, and we don't quite get it. So unless you absolutely, and I trust you, if you tell me it is horrible, we can't live without it, then it makes sense. But otherwise, I'd say I'd love to see it as part of.
Let me ask you this. This was looked at by the IT department. This was looked at by Paul.
Yes.
So, what we did is we took the estimate, what we needed to put the new server in, and that's what's in my budget.
We're talking $2,000.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not the dollar issue here.
We're back.
He talked to the IT director, which I directed him to do.
I have nothing,
I guess I'm assuming this is part of that plan.
right,
And
which
this
we
is just
don't have a
me-
plan yet.
Right, but
Okay.
we know this is gonna be part of it.
All right. Now, the objective, the long-term goal, I should say, of the IT department is to supply each individual area with their own hardware, purchased under the IT department's budget.
Okay.
That's the goal. And I think that if what I'm hearing is true, then we may be able to satisfy those needs and put together a budget for the IT department within the next couple of weeks. So the question is, do we put it in your budget, or do we leave it in the IT budget, take it out of your budget, and do it the right way?
Mr. Chairman, I agree, and that was the end goal, to start migrating all IT budgets out of individual departments and into the IT department,
Right.
155, but we are not to that point yet. And I had advised Scott that he needed to talk to the IT director to make sure that this purchase did fall in line and fit with everything that the town currently did. Scott did exactly what he was supposed to do, went to him. Whether it goes with the vision, our we can't stop purchasing things. Like if someone's printer goes, do we say we're not gonna buy printers?
No, I didn't say that.
But I'm just saying, technology, he needs the server. He did exactly what I told him to do, to go to the IT director and make sure that this fit with the rest of the town's network. And the IT director advised him properly. So to your point, whether that money comes from 155 or from his, I mean, that's a different argument, but.
Well,
the
I think,
server-
I think you're right, and, you know, as we agreed earlier in other meetings, that the 155 department would manage right now the town and, town hall and the district, and we would pull all the other departments in over the next year or so.
Yeah,
So,
and I agree with you.
That's fine.
So,
I wouldn't get in the way of it, but this really drives home the point that we're starting to spend money now. Here we go down the same path we've done for years, starting to spend money without a plan. And I would say, this just makes me not comfortable that we've been asking for a plan for how long, and we still don't have one.
Yep. Sir?
If I may, through Chris, through you, Mr. Chairman, do we have a sense as to when the plan might be finalized? I'm not trying
I
to
don't-
drag it
I
down to a
need to- I
particular
need-
day.
I think we need to not talk about this at this point in time.
okay. I have
I
one.
apologize.
Well, no,
I just think we're going way off the.
I was the
idea.
chairman at one time, so I understand. However, to me, if the current director or IT person looked at this and said, this is a goal, one would think that that individual would know something or see something that many of us in this room may not see. So I have to put a lot of credence into that. My concern is, we don't have a plan. I don't know how close we are to the plan, and I would hope that we get to look at that plan long before we're asked to fund it. But for $2,000, if the IT director has looked at it, I mean, I can support it. I agree with everything you said, Mr. Chairman, and you too.
And
as
I
well.
agree with both of you.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
And my biggest concern is I saw a list that was given to you saying, here's a couple $100,000, this is what we're gonna do to fix the high school. And it's like, really? So the 2,000 becomes 200. And again, I don't wanna hold you up, fair is fair, but I think it's getting really serious that we can't go forward without a plan. And if we can't get a plan, we need to figure something else to do to get one.
somebody who can get us a plan.
And just to end the conversation, I was given a plan on Monday, okay, for both the town and the schools. It has not been distributed because it hasn't been finalized, but they're in my hand. So, we've all been yelling for them because you're absolutely right, Bob. So, I have them here, but
So
I
it's
think
two
they're,
plans, it's not one plan?
one plan for the town of Milford Technology and one for the Milford Public Schools. So he did two, so, but they're not finalized, that's why I haven't distributed them.
I'll reserve my comment for that.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Can I ask you a question? Am I included in that plan?
That was my question.
I need to know that.
Excuse me, gentlemen, we're getting out of control. We're not talking about IT tonight, we're talking about
Right.
$2,000 that the IT guy looked at, the
Right.
director looked at and said, spend it, go spend it.
Thank you.
Thank
It.
you.
All right, thank you.
We'll spend it all in one place.
Well, if he comes in and do it, I won't spend it. I'll keep it.
Thank you, Scott.
Paul? Board of Health,
Really bad.
Department 510. That electric too. Your expenses, general expenses went up 57%. Big numbers
Right,
in percentage.
right. What that is a result of, that would be coming under the professional tech and consulting. Is that what you're referring to, Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Yeah, where FY 15 was 0, and now for this proposed FY 16 is 7,940. What that was is, I just transferred money from the salaries account to this account at the request of Zach Taylor. For the simple reason, we do hire a consultant for food service inspections to help us out when we're falling behind, and also a soil evaluator to help with the soils tests for septic systems. And what we did for that was, we had a category called temporary help that we've had for many years, and we took all the funds from there and put them in there, and we also did that for the physician. And we took his funds and we put them in there, and that equaled the $7,900.
1099.
Correct.
Okay, as opposed to 72.
Right.
Paul, what was that balance last year that was up in the salaries and wages account?
The
7940.
yeah,
The
temporary help was $4,080, and the physician was $6,620, but $2,760 of that, $2,760 of that money went to our public health nurse to make that an even $25,000.
And overall, what's your budget increase overall, Paul?
The general expense, I believe, is a little under 2%, and that included that extra $7,900.
Okay, that's fine, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Paul.
Thank you.
Any other discussion?
Thank you.
You're welcome, thanks, Paul. Terry?
Mr. Chairman, you mind if I join since Terry?
Sure, we got plenty of arrows.
146.
Yep.
Thank you, Paul.
Budget went up, total of 4.5%. 4.4% in salaries and 5.6% in general expenses. This is before you go to jail, so you better get right.
All right, I'm ready.
We have to take care of the tax collector at the end of the fiscal year because she had to buy a new printer and she'll be over budget. So it was either go to jail or take the money at the end of the year. I opted for jail, she opted for the money.
That was 10 grand.
Huh?
That's a big jump, the 10 grand. in the-
Mark, what was the increase you figured on this budget?
I'm sorry?
What was the increase you figured on this budget?
Total of 4.5% overall.
I think it's closer to 9.8%.
Mark, I think are you referring to the list that we went over
Yeah,
on
yeah.
Friday? That was an older copy that shouldn't have been in there.
budget's-
It's actually
this budget's up
it's been
9.8%.
updated.
So what is it now?
9.87%.
The figure.
Oh, that's right, you told me it was,
Yeah,
it was a lot.
it should be in everybody's,
146.
list that Paul had distributed.
Okay, this is fine.
That's the finalized, yeah.
18,394.
Okay, Madam Tax
Okay.
Collector.
Salary increase. I have a clerk going out on maternity leave for 12 weeks, so I cannot run that office with two people. So I need someone to replace her for the 12 weeks. And I thought if I did the seasonal wage of the $17.12 an hour, I believe, we could continue to use her during our busy times, the due dates and excise due dates and stuff like that, so.
Just temporary help.
Yeah, true seasonal employee during the peak times of the fourth quarter.
Is it seasonal or temporary help?
Seasonal.
Seasonal.
Well, but this, for what she's, and this would actually be both, because there is somebody going out on maternity leave, so that's what's gonna justify that extra money, but there will be seasonal help at, the 4 peak quarters, and when her employee does go out, then that particular person would also serve to fill in to make it a full 35-hour week.
Yeah, subcommittee met with Terry and she explained that and we were okay with that. Gotta have somebody in the office.
Any discussion? No? Okay. Expenses?
Expenses, printing went up $10,000. I would like to, we're one of the very few communities that print our own tax bills. I would like to outsource them to our deputy collector, Kelly and Ryan. They print all our motor vehicle bills, close to 100,000 motor vehicle bills they print for us. So I would like to outsource them to them. We would send them our file. I wouldn't have to worry about the backers. The backers on the back of the bills change every year. Kelly and Ryan gets all the IGRs. They would know all that. They get all the bankruptcy information. They would know who to send bills to, who they couldn't send bills to. And it takes me a day and a half to print the tax bills. So I have to tie up a printer and sit there for a day and a half to print real estate and personal property bills. Then I have to drive them to Kelly and Ryan to be sorted and folded and stuffed in envelopes, and then Kelly and Ryan brings them back to us, and we have to manually sort through them by zip code to get a 46-cent postage rate. If Kelly and Ryan does all this, their postage rate is 39 cents. So we'll be getting a little bit of a break on the postage with Kelly and Ryan, but it's gonna cost a little bit more money in the printing for this year. My goal, I would like to maybe next fiscal year do 2 mailings, still the 4 tax bills, the 2 preliminaries in 1 mailing, and the two actuals in 1 mailing. And that would cut our postage pretty close to $10,000. And it would bring Kelly and Ryan's total right now to print the 4 tax bills would be about $27,000. If we went to the two mailings, it would bring it down to $13,000.
Mr. Chair? Are you suggesting we not send out the 4 tax bills a year?
I would still send 4 tax bills, but only do 2 mailings.
It'd be 2 in one envelope.
So the preliminary bills, your August bill and your November bill. would-
So you're gonna get just 2 payments from the tax,
No,
from the individual?
no, there would still be the 4 due dates.
We'll have 2 bills in it.
We would still have our 4 due dates, but we would,
Tough being old, you know.
So you're gonna print them all at once, is what you're saying? 2 of the temps, and
Two
then once the
printing.
town meeting is concluded?
Yeah, two up front, under the preliminary, and then, yeah, I think that's what you're saying, then after town meeting's approved, another 2.
You might as well answer the question now, because the first time it hits the bricks, you're gonna still have to answer that question. Because when people see 2 bills coming in, they're gonna wanna know why.
right, well, that's why I didn't wanna
Get
do
out in
it.
front of that particular situation. A follow-up, if I may? Okay. You said it was, if I understood you correctly, $27,000 to get, more or less, to get those people, to get the outsourced bills printed,
That's what it would cost us, including postage.
including postage.
Yes.
Now, have you, when you do them in-house as you do now, have you calculated what the cost is, including the man-hours, or in this case, woman's hours, person hours, or, you know,
I
worker
have.
hours?
Let's see, I do have that. Okay, this is supplies, paper, envelopes, ink cartridges, are $350 a piece. I need 4.
For the year?
No, I need
Per
4.
quarter.
Per quarter.
That's
So it
about
costs the
$1,300.
town, it would cost the town, it cost me and the town $24,295.
Includes postage.
That includes postage
And you're talking 27,000?
for Kelly and Ryan.
All right, so how many people do you tie up printing the bills?
I spend a day and a half.
You personally? The other one, only one? So essentially, we're buying, okay, thank you.
I'm confused.
Yeah, well,
The net effect is how much money?
For Kelly and Ryan to print them?
No, just total, what we're doing today, because
What we're
you're saying
doing
we're gonna
today.
save time and people, but we're not gonna reduce their hours, right? So we're already paying people to do this.
Correct.
So this is to make it easier on our staff, we're gonna increase the budget by,
10,000.
okay. So I guess my question is, do we need to spend $10,000? I mean, what's the urgency to make it easier? I mean, I'm all for making it easier, but 10 grand's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money. We're very few, there are no communities that I know of. I've gone to UMass to courses, I go to collectors' meetings. I don't know any community that prints their own tax bills. Everybody outsources them. I'm trying to get the department as automated as I can. I would like to get, and I'm trying to do it in pieces.
But when you automate, it's normally to save time, save money, save people time, something. Sounds like we're gonna automate it, add 10 grand to automate it, but
Well, my goal next year is to do the 2 mailings, which would cut everything in half.
that's,
I think what Al's asking is, if we're gonna outsource this, what are we gaining inside?
Inside, we're gaining, I don't have to spend a day and a half printing tax bills and driving them to Kelly and Ryan and having them come back to my office and have to sit there and sort through them by zip code. We have to sort those all in manually into zip code.
but Terry, the problem I have is we've budgeted that now. So I don't see a cost benefit to stopping it. Automating is good, but normally there's a benefit. We're adding 10 grand. I do have a second question about this double mailing, because you're gonna mail me 2 bills in August, so you save postage. And you're counting on me remembering that this bill is supposed to be paid in November. I worry that a lot of people aren't necessarily as organized as they should be. I mean, I can see I get 2 bills, for $200, and I'm gonna say, do I owe them both now? No, wait till November. Am I gonna remember in November, or am I gonna now?
We would do reminders.
Well, how do you remind? You send another mailer?
No, we do Ed Thompson, WMRC, we could do the Crier, we could do the town website.
Okay. I mean, it's a concern that all of a sudden you're gonna have a lot of people it's like omission, not commission. They're not physically saying, I'm not gonna pay it. Just, yeah, where did I put that from 3 months ago? Do I remember it?
Two things to Al's point. One, I don't think we really answered the question of, if we're saving man-hours, what are we gonna do with those man-hours when we save them? And 2, to the 2 mailings a year. I thought we used to have 2 mailings a year.
We went away from that.
The idea was the cash flow. By going to 4 mailings,
Right, was a cash
We're
flow.
still gonna have 4 tax
Still,
bills.
cash flow
It's
should.
still 4 payments.
Yeah, still
It's
4 payments.
Yeah, it's still 4 payments, but
Yeah.
to Al's point,
Yeah, no, that's something, this isn't written in stone, it's something we obviously have to do our
we're gonna
homework
end up
on.
Talking.
we're gonna end up in
We're gonna have trouble.
owning a bunch of homes.
no, I think people, once you remind them, Mark, will, oh, God, yeah, I'm supposed to pay that, but
Yeah, Terry,
Yes.
you mentioned that most cities and towns, outsource. When they do that, is it 4 bills or 2 bills with,
Half and half, I would
So
say.
it is half and
It is
half.
half and half. Some do 2, some do
so,
the 4.
I kind of agree with Al's point about the 4 bills. It is a reminder, and the cost for that will be 27,000, if I understand.
Yes.
Our cost.
Yes, that's including postage. We're
Okay,
getting a little bit of a break on the postage rate with them.
so that's an incremental 27, right? Yeah, okay. Well, I guess that's one concern, but the other concern would be, what type of review function do you have on these tax bills? Because, you know, you're doing them for a day and a half, but, you know, you're looking at the data, or you're inputting the data, and so you're kind of responsible, so there's oversight in that process. When you outsource, what kind of oversight do you have? Do you just take them and mail them? I mean, should there be some type of review? How do you know they're correct? I guess it's.
I would look at the file before I sent it to him.
It's a file
It's
that.
a file that's sent.
That would be reviewed prior to sending, and then it would.
So you tie out the file before you send
Yeah.
it? Okay, all right, thank you.
Mark? Mark? I have genuine concern about migrating to two tax bills also. I know that's not cast in stone at this point in time, but if we
Why
start.
don't we discuss it when they bring it up next year?
But if we're doing that, making this decision in anticipation of going to two tax bills in 2017, that's kind of, it's very germane, very important that we don't start walking down that path by looking at this $10,000 expenditure or 27, getting ready to go that way in anticipation of saving money. The other thing that concerns me, and I've looked into this a little further, with all this information and work we're doing with IT right now, we're actually looking at a plan that you have, a preliminary plan. What kind of impact is that going to have on the collector's office going forward? I know we have printer issues and those kind of things, but I think we need to step back and say, wait a minute here, let's incorporate this whole IT issue and include the collector's office in at the same time and defer this until we have some more information with regard to the IT changes that are up and coming, even though we haven't seen them yet.
I think that the plan, the IT plan includes town hall, so the collector would be in that plan.
So whatever we do tonight with this 10 grand, doing this, could be impacted 90 days, 6 months from now, very quickly, just
I
like
think
that.
this is outsourcing versus keeping it in, so I don't think that has any impact on the IT plan.
You're processing them now with town computers, right?
Yes,
And town printers,
printers, yes.
so.
Candidly, maybe I'm slow, but I'm confused. Zach, I'd like to see a position paper that says, we want to increase, we want to spend 10 grand a year more, and it would save us X hours. Now, if we're not reducing people's hours, then those hours would be used for this. You know, what I'm getting a feeling it would be really nice to automate and make it cool, but 10 grand is 10 grand.
10 grand's a lot of money, yes.
Okay, I'm not against it, but I'm asking you, help me support it by telling me.
Well, what we're trying to do is this isn't the collector's office of 20 years ago, you know? So we're trying to use this freed up time to move forward with more online initiatives, and we're getting scanners in the office to streamline it that way, where you're receiving payments, and it's trying to take time to.
But again, with all due respect, it sounds great. Do you love your mother? Yes. Motherhood is good. But when you say we're getting scanners, we're gonna do initiatives, 10 grand, I'd like to see a piece of paper that says, Terry, tell me what initiatives? You know, if I spent 10 grand, look at the things I could do with my extra time. Look at the efficiency, look at something. It just feels like motherhood.
Yeah,
You know, we'll be better.
I understand.
He's older.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Simple question.
Looks older.
If I understand your proposal and the figures that were given to us, I'll frame the question as a hypothetical business that is going to spend money to outsource work. And the question I would have is, why would any business outsource work for an additional cost?
Wear and
Maybe,
tear
am
on
I
a.
simplifying this?
No.
It's a return on investment. I mean, that's exactly what the question should be.
we don't
Why are we spending 10 grand and what are we getting for it? Other than somebody else is doing the work that we should be doing.
You would
that's
expect
all.
to see, as a business, you would expect to see savings somewhere.
Right, exactly. What's the return on
And even
investment?
if they're in year two, I can understand that, but as you say, we need to see
Or new programs.
something.
You know, what's the benefit of spending 10 grand?
Okay. Aldo.
Off the top of your head, how much money is your department responsible to to bring into the town by virtue of your billing?
Close to 60 million.
$60 million. And we're sitting here micromanaging for $10,000, okay? Without the 60 million, you can have all the 10,000s you want. But, I mean, we're asking department heads, you know, I agree right around the table with the four buildings versus the 2 buildings, but we need to put this in perspective. We're talking $60 million. We've spent more than $10,000 to do some things that really didn't need to be done at that point in time. I mean, we have a department head, she's trying to be as efficient as she possibly can in that department area, so I mean, I don't wanna spend the 10,000 any more than anyone else, but if the department head figures that she can make her department more efficient by spending her time, we take $60 million in, gentlemen and lady. But, you know, we
we-
shouldn't probably micromanage to that degree in that department.
I personally appreciate your input, Aldo, but we do this every single time. You know, it's 10,000 versus 60 million on a $90 million budget, it's inconsequential, agreed. But if every department head walked in here and wanted to spend an extra 10 to 15,000, we'd be up $1 million and change. So the question is, should it be justified on cost savings or shouldn't it be justified on cost savings? I think the consensus is it should be justified on cost savings.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
So I just want to confirm a couple of things. First, if we go to the 2 mailings, it's going to cost us $27 to print it. And if we printed it here, it would cost us $24,000. So it's only $3,000 more dollars.
It's next year, we're not doing it this
I'm
year.
just asking a question.
I-
It's $27,000 to have them print 2 tax bills.
4.
4 tax bills, but mailed twice.
Oh, 4.
4 mailings.
4 mailings.
How much for 2 mailings?
2 mailings, we could bring it down to 13,000.
13,000. And what would it cost us?
It would well, it would be the difference between the postage. If
Yeah.
we did 2 mailings in-house, it would be, our postage rate is 46 cents, theirs is 39.
Yeah, so 7 cents times, how many mailings? How many envelopes?
How many, what?
How many envelopes do we send out?
10,000, 4 times a year, so 40,000.
So it'll be $3,500.
Yeah.
10,000 times 2.
No, 'cause we mail, but we also have someone that is literally driving every tax bill around in their car, back and forth.
You have to take them to the post office too.
Yeah, I mean,
Well, the supplier will
what,
do the
what
same
kind of a
thing.
world do we live in at this point where we're having people have to drive and then she manually sorts stuff? She has to sit there and separate envelopes?
That's exactly the
So
return
we're-
on
I mean,
investment that we're getting.
Well, we're making an investment in IT too, because we're sick of using typewriters, we wanna use computers. You need to spend money to do that. And in order to have her not have to sit here and sort, yes, maybe it costs a little bit more money, but maybe she's more efficient and she can get more things done.
That's the point.
So that's why I don't want everyone to blow this off that she's doing it. She's not gonna sit around and twiddle her thumbs. She's going to do other things. And the time that's spent, yes, I agree that maybe we need to write it down, but let me tell you, I guarantee you she will return that $10,000.
I don't think there's any
In
question in
productivity.
anybody's mind. The question is,
So-
All I'm asking is, help me support you.
that's all.
You know, write it down to
Fair is
say,
fair.
here's a financial analysis, and by the way, it could be, I'm not gonna save a penny,
already spent 15
but I'm
minutes
gonna
on
do
that.
these 3 programs that are gonna help the citizens of Milford. Great, then I see a return. It doesn't have to be, I'm saving 32.8 hours, but if you're going at it, cause I'm seeing things get mixed. We're gonna print it outside, well, okay, but we're gonna sort it inside. Write it all down as a package, and come back and tell us what
My
you're gonna
package
do.
is to outsource it
That's right,
completely,
everything.
so I don't have to do any of
And
it.
again, Terry, just tell me what benefit.
The benefit would be, it would help, it would give me more time
Guys,
to
and ladies,
collect taxes.
listen, we've already spent 15 minutes on it, times the number of people here at our rate, we've already spent that 10 grand. So the bottom line is, why don't you come back and write something down, just give us a proposal and what the proposal is, what the 10,000 is for, what we're gonna save this year and potentially next year. And I don't have any problem with 10,000 and what you wanna do. The question is, just come back with something in writing that tells us what are you gonna do with those 3 days that you're not doing this, basically? Yeah, quick.
Yeah, I'll be brief. I think there's a lot of good points made around the room, but I don't think there's a big return on investment here. You're gonna free up some time, okay? Day and a half, that's really it. I don't think it's a, Harvard Business School analysis, Al, no disrespect, but so, and to Aldo's point, I do think we have to respect, the judgment of the department head. And every town outsources this. This is a very manual, archaic process. Sometimes you spend money, as Chris said, just to get in the 21st century. So I'm kind of for it. I understand it's 10 grand. I do think it's gonna be 4 tax bills, so it's gonna be the 24 in my mind. So that's how I'm looking at it. But again, I don't think there's gonna be a big return here, and we just have to decide whether we wanna do it, so, okay?
Thank you.
Thanks. Zach, I wouldn't move too far. Where's Rick? Rick. I mean, Parks Department's not here.
Oh, he's not gonna be here, but he gave me the,
He's not gonna be here.
it's quick though, it's one of those utility things.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought I wrote all that down.
Yes, sir.
Asked the treasurer come too?
I asked her.
You asked to come?
Yeah.
Rick, total general government budget went up 11.1%. Can you give us some quick explanation
yeah.
other than utilities?
Two things. One, in the selectmen budget, 122, we have added a line item for the fireworks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we put it in the
sorry.
budget, it's not a warrant
That's what
article?
we were told to do.
This side of the room is not listening. Can you say that one more time?
Wow.
He heard. 122, selectmen budget, we have added a line item for the fireworks in the amount of
Fireworks.
$18,000.
That will do it. Congratulations, Aldo.
Finally won one.
I want it, right?
Obviously, National Grid, we talked about that, you know that. 148, general government, there was a salary increase of, due to steps.
But we should also mention, by the way, that to everybody, this is, next year's a leap year. So there's one
Correct.
extra day of expenses in personnel services in every budget.
Okay.
Turned a 2% to a 2.3%.
Right. Right, I'm sorry, Rick.
That's okay. Also in 192, public property and buildings, the salary increase, I believe, is about 5%. That's due to a number of people stepping. And also, I did increase the overtime slightly for that. So again, and then the National Grid on top of that.
92 is also the.
192,
Yeah.
5,300 is.
Yeah.
utilities.
And we also, we had one gentleman who's out, and has been out a number of months, so we added a part-time custodian who's now working for us. And also, I mean, you and I had a conversation about the youth center, and if you look at that budget, we talked about, and we had a conversation the other day about it, but I would like to, again, as we discussed, put in a half-year for a custodian. We're expecting that to come in online by the end of the year. I'd like to hit the ground running when we have a new building. I'd like to have someone there to maintain it and take care of it.
As I.
And I know we had a discussion, I'm
We had a
just,
discussion.
it is in there, but that's, I wanted to bring
Right,
that,
as I said,
everybody's attention.
We all had a discussion about the youth center and budgeting the youth center and said that, once they get up and running and been running for a while, then we can determine what a legitimate budget would be. With respect to custodians, I mean, I don't know when this place is gonna come online. It's gonna be October, November, December.
Should be by the end of the calendar year.
So what I think, we do the same thing with that as we're gonna do with the youth center and see. I agree we're gonna need a custodian to keep the place clean, but I'm not sure when that's gonna be or why we should budget for it now. That's my opinion. I just think that, when it comes online, just add a part-time custodian and we'll make it up at the end of the year. 'Cause like I said, I don't know how long it's gonna be, how much time it's gonna take. You know, we have no idea until the building is done, opened, and been running for a while.
I mean, the likelihood it will be one full-time person, but,
Well,
I mean,
if that's what it is, then that's
why
what
I
it is.
budgeted
And
a
Mark,
half
I
year
do
for it.
think if we do have, well, when we have a custodian, I think it should properly be classified in 192 and not be included in whatever budget we're gonna put together for Milford Youth Center. Because it's public building, just like every other one, where all other.
That's fine.
That's
If
where
that's where they all go, then
That's where they
fine.
are all
Yeah,
classified.
that was kind of our logic of why putting it in now, because I know once the youth center's up and running, we're gonna talk about putting a budget together, which I think should only be, the assistant's, salary. I don't really think they need anything further than that, but that's why we had put in the request at this time.
It's the pleasure of the board.
Is the senior center, do they have a full-time custodian?
Yes.
Yes.
Where is that budgeted?
192.
192.
Okay, so-
All the custodians are
I mean,
in
basically,
192.
if you treat, is it same square footage? I mean, look at it and just say, what do you need? And
Probably a
then
little
treat it,
bigger building.
then treat it the same way
That's
as
kind of
every
the
other
compar-
building.
Yeah.
Comparison we were making.
Exactly.
You know, I mean, that's the easiest thing to look at.
Yeah, you're
I
exactly.
mean, we could add it to the budget now for next year at half rate.
It'd be a half rate, it'd be, about 18,
20-something
no,
thousand.
it'd be about 18,769 at step one.
I'm not hearing anything. Joyce, what do you think? General government?
Yeah, I'd say just add them, and add it the way he has it, and, that way at least there's something there.
Obviously, too, if, cut you off.
No, it's okay.
Obviously, too, if it's pushed off a little bit,
Yeah, it's
we're
not
not
gonna
gonna
be
spend
spent.
the money elsewhere.
Right.
No, Mark,
We understand
that would be my only caveat, is to get an agreement that if we budget 6 months, and only 5 months of that salary is used, come May, you're not moving money from the top to the
Yeah.
bottom, saying, okay,
No, that-
we didn't really need a custodian except 3 months, so now we got 3 months' salary that we can spend. I mean,
Correct.
fair is fair, if we're
That's
saying,
fair, that's fair.
so as long as we get an agreement that
Yeah,
that money,
That's fine.
even though you can't earmark it, it kind of is,
Correct.
and if you don't use it for that, it drops to the
Drop it down, yep, so,
free cash.
That's fair.
Is it in here, Rick, or not?
yeah,
It is in there, I'm sorry.
It is in here?
Yes.
it is, yep.
How much is in there?
Was that junior custodian,
Should be about 18,769.
which one is it?
Be a junior building custodian, there are a number.
On that sheet that you're looking at now.
650.
This one?
One
Very bottom,
92.
I believe. I think it's called vacant.
Yep, 18,770.
All right, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it is.
Subcommittee agrees. All right. And we need to vote on this, we don't need to vote on it now.
Already in there, right?
All right, you already put it in.
Okay, thank you.
I don't agree with it, but it's,
I know.
all right, what else?
The only one, I guess, street lighting, obviously.
Well, buildings and grounds?
That's what I was.
That's 192.
Oh, it's
That's-
192.
yeah. Street lighting, obviously, due to the
Yep, electric.
National Grid, that was a significant, I have a dollar amount in front of me. That
That's
was-
based on an analysis that was done on last year's figures. So
Yeah.
That should be sufficient. Better be
I
sufficient.
mean, just, the main thing would be obviously the fireworks, step increases, National Grid. Those are pretty much the three areas that have caused the increase that you're talking about.
Any questions?
Mike, just out of curiosity, supplies, 192, whatever it is, something 150. 21,000 versus 16. The number is small. Again, it's only $5,000
New building.
going down?
Down.
I'm sorry. Maybe I'm confused.
not- I
If the
thought
new
you
building
said
goes down, I like it, but
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm confused as to how come it went, 5 out of 21 is 20-some%.
Yeah, go ahead. But it
I
was
like it,
16 last
but I'm
year.
just curious why.
What we,
16 to 16.
Yeah, we did,
based on by looking at your year-to-dates from prior years, we decided that the budget was a little high there, so
Okay.
we're just trying to realign it.
No, that's fine.
if you notice,
Yeah.
I'm looking at 14 being 21. This year, we said the budget's 16.
yeah.
Is
Yeah.
that coming in accurate before we base next year's budget on 16?
Yes.
And end up 5,000 short?
I also added $4,000 there, if you see, on 192, 524, 5241, repair, maintenance, building and grounds. That's where the difference is.
So you just move some, okay.
It's just
My only
moving it
concern
around
was, I see
based upon what I've
21
seen to date.
going to a projected 16.
yeah.
Before we say, next year, we're gonna keep it at 16, I just wanna know, is 16 a real number for this year?
I believe it is.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Rick.
Thank you,
Any other questions for Rick? Sorry.
thank you.
All right, 145, town treasurer, pension.
Hey, Mark, one last question. Weed control, why'd it go up 50%?
Right.
Sheets with all the
Same account,
balances and everything else. We used to get.
14, $5,000, 16, 7,500.
You're not gonna stop that.
No, I've been.
I'm just curious why it went up 50%.
Excuse me.
Sorry.
Excuse me, Rick.
Sorry to nitpick, but this gets back to Mark, 5 here, 10 there pretty soon.
Looking at weed control?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is now, we have actually a contract for that, 7,500.
Well, why'd it go up 50%? What happened?
How about the weeds?
Did we add more weeds?
No, we don't.
I thought it went up a long time ago.
It went up this year.
No,
52.
14 was 5,200. This year, we're saying it's 75. I'm curious why it went up to 7,500 this year.
We need to have one conversation, okay?
Yes.
Yeah, what happens, my fault, Parks pays for some of that, so we will get,
What? Parks pays for nothing. We
Since
took all the
when?
money out of Parks, put it in town government,
They had paid for it.
they had paid for it.
way
so now-
before last year.
Yeah.
Right, so now we're
That's
paying.
why it's.
Yeah.
That's what we paid.
This is 14 versus.
Wait.
In 14, they did pay half.
Right, and last year we did pay 7,500, that's
Yeah.
15.
So,
we
did we take money out of parks?
Well, let's look at Parks.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
This is
I
the
do.
part that, when you say, okay, they're no longer paying for this. We had that issue with weeds many years ago, where one department said, I'm not paying for it anymore.
But we
But
took,
you can't take the $5,000 out of my budget. It's like, well, no, you can't move the responsibility without moving the dollars.
15, we did pay 7,500.
Al,
we took it out of Parks more than 2 years ago.
and you did, and it ended up in a special revenue fund that was depleted, which is why it needs to be taken care of now. I believe that it was a gift account at the time, and now it's no longer, the money's depleted.
I don't, Zach, with all honesty, I remember us putting 5,000 in.
Yes.
And then saying, move it from parks to Louis, well, the town budget
Right.
is mass.
Right.
So I did not believe that they were paying anything, because we took the $5,000 out,
They being Parks, right.
they being parks.
Correct.
Well, they received a gift account specific for weed control, which was a special revenue fund, which is why we decided to use it out of it. Obviously, you can't use it on anything else. And then that revenue has been depleted at this point.
We got a gift for weeds?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know we were getting weed gifts.
Yeah. We got like 400 gift accounts, and
Go to my
they're all.
address, I got weeds in my.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are wacky, trust me, they are, but people donate for weird stuff. You wouldn't believe the.
All right, so the actual expense is 7,500.
The expenses now.
We have a contract for
yeah.
7,500.
All right,
Yes.
end of story.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry.
That's okay.
145.
So, 145 is a significant increase due to the town meeting article that's gonna move forward with the implementation of the municipal finance department and the creation of a benefits coordinator, which hopefully will be Kelly here. So, it's actually gonna be a sub-department within the treasurer's, and that's gonna be Kelly's position. And there's gonna be actual decrease in the treasurer now that a significant amount of the duties will be shifted out of it and over, so it's a decrease in the treasurer's salary and an increase in a benefits coordinator, which is gonna net out to the increase you see in front of you.
I don't follow that math.
Again, you've confused an old man. It's netting out to a 50,000 increase.
Yeah, it's a new position.
It's another person.
It's another person.
So we're
coming on
adding
board.
another person.
Yes,
That's all you had to say.
correct, yeah, sorry. Yeah, yeah.
Now, let's assume, for argument's sake, that that article doesn't pass. So we'll back all of this stuff out?
Correct,
Yeah.
yes. There's nothing else you can do with it, I mean, if it doesn't pass, then
All right.
Curious question, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Curious, George.
assuming the state legislature passes the legislation, so now we have a finance director. Will we still have a full-time treasurer?
Yes, we will.
We will.
We
Yes,
have to.
you have to, by
Yes.
statute, you must
Yes.
have a full-time treasurer.
Thank you.
Yep.
So, follow up. So what's the plan for the treasurer position?
You have to hire one.
Huh?
We have to hire one.
I'll be at the selectmen meeting Monday night with the revised job description, and if accepted, which I expect it will be, we'll be moving forward to post it and go through the interview process and get a treasurer.
This is an ongoing concern of mine, and I'm just gonna voice it clear, as we embrace a $60 million school project. Okay, and that's coming online, I believe I heard, no later than 2017, and that nut, as it's referred to, paying that debt, plus the youth center with the $5 million. Now we're talking about adding another headcount, more headcount, another person in the system. Jack and you and I had this discussion earlier about we seem to be just kind of putting one here, one there, just systematically. And I think we really gotta step back and say, stop for a minute, until we get this school system bonded and online, we need to take a big, deep breath and quit systematically adding 10,000 here, a position here, more here. Because quite frankly, we all know that when that school system comes online, we are going to be tight, very, very tight. And I don't wanna set myself up to get myself jammed into a corner that I have absolutely no wiggle room when 2017 comes around. And if we keep doing things like this, we're gonna systematically set ourselves up for failure.
Yep.
And I think we really need to step back, and I don't care whether it's 10,000 in the collector's office, another position in the treasurer's office, or another position in your office, or any number of positions in the school system. And we had this discussion. We need to take a big, deep breath, get through this budget cycle without setting ourselves up for failure in 2017, because we're not 100% sure we're exactly on the money. That's my speech for tonight.
Thank you for your speech. We're all set. The financial team has sat down and gone through all these numbers significantly. The budget, the long-term debt, the short-term interest, the long-term interest, the debt limit at 3.5 million. The youth center is not coming online with a $5 million debt. We've already paid $4 million of it. The $62 million school.
You know what the interest rate's gonna be on the bond in 2017?
The $62 million school is on the list, long-term capital list, long-term debt list. And if we continue to do the things that we've been doing presently for the next 5 or 6 years, the long-term debt as it exists paying off the school will end up going down to about $9 million. So we're in pretty good financial shape from a long-term debt perspective. The budget, the overall budget, if everything comes in the way we expect it to come in, and the only two issues that we have right now are the district and what we decide to do with the IT budget will be around 3.5% increase overall. That's assuming significant increase in health insurance, about 6%, retirement's up about 5.6%. So I think we're doing really, really well. We've added these positions in. We know exactly how they're gonna impact over the long term, so I'm not concerned from my position.
Fundamental question, Zach, again, for a slow old man. Why are we adding a person?
That's my question.
You know, I'm not challenging it, I'm just questioning, saying, we're moving the treasurer, okay, but we're adding a head count.
Yep, we're reorganizing the whole structure to, again, get updated to 2015. We're a $100 million company without an HR department, so it's just not cutting it right now. There's not enough time in the day. There's certain areas just been completely lax.
That's what
and
I'm
there's not
asking.
enough
Is this gonna
dedication.
add, like, not even like with Terry, I'm not worried that she's gonna come back and say, it's gonna save me 3 hours, I'm gonna add a benefit.
Yeah,
Is this position now to add an HR function?
yes it is.
Okay, that's what I wasn't getting, because I'm
Yes.
hearing we're shuffling the treasurer and,
Yeah.
but I didn't hear what's the benefit?
Yeah.
You know, what are we doing that's gonna cost a position? And Jerry was right, it's not the 5,000, it's not the 10, it's not the dollar. It's, why are we doing it?
Yeah.
So we're adding an HR function that we've all said we've desperately needed
That
for
we
many.
never had, yeah, and
So this will be an
desperately-
HR person
this'll-
you're hiring?
This will be a full HR department, yes, and it'll be an HR director, yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear is,
And the treasurer?
And the treasurer will be a full-time or part-time position?
Full-time.
so we'll maintain the treasurer, but we're adding a full-time HR resource by adding this headcount. However you do it, a year from now, we'll have a head of HR that can stand in front of us.
Yes, you will.
Okay, now I understand. Sorry to be so
No
slow.
worries, yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir.
I have a question. If we're doing the same volume of work, the work is getting done now, maybe not 100% efficient. Do we need a full-time person to pick up the slack?
Yes, I think we do, and that's the
That's-
problem.
that
You're
was
gonna
my-
see the management letter, and once again, the treasurer's office is gonna get hammered again. It's just, it's way too much volume of work for a treasurer to also pick up the full HR function of health insurance benefits. We're getting new mandates put on us constantly with e-verifications, and go on and on with all these new
Affordable Care Act,
regulations.
yeah.
You see,
Affordable Care Act.
That's never
and-
been communicated to me on this
Yeah.
committee. So,
Yep, I
that's why we
understand.
asked the question. It may seem foolish and it may seem like we're
No,
trying to
it doesn't
browbeat
seem
you. We're not.
foolish.
You have information
Yep.
resonant with you that we don't have.
Exactly.
All right. And-
Would you
and I'm-
agree?
Yes, and if you look at the warrant that I sent out, there's an article on the warrant to create this whole organization, and at that point in time, I think Zach can come before us and make a good presentation of exactly what he's doing and how he's gonna do it.
I also have a 15-page document that I had put together that
Cliff
I
Notes
would,
version.
that I'd happily distribute.
Aldo?
Just one quick question. You're terming it as an HR director, right, of the department.
Yeah.
Is the department gonna work out of the treasurer's office and use the treasurer's staff? Or are we gonna be looking in 6 months to
No.
hire a staff?
No, currently, the treasurer has a staff of 5, and my office has a staff of 4. So what I'm doing is reorganizing the existing staff
You
to
can
give
have a
each
director.
department a staff of 3.
So I can mark this down that you said that you're not gonna need additional
This
staff.
is it, mark it
for the
down, quote
director.
me, yep.
All right,
yep,
thank you.
yep.
Because the next round of budgets will cut his budget. Any other questions? Thank you, team.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'm sure you'll be back, Zach, to talk about your article, big slideshow and everything. Parks, Christie, you said you had some information.
Yeah, the two increases for parks for electricity and water, the two utilities is what makes up the difference. Zach has sent the memo because of the increased water rates on that. That's what brings it up to the 37.
Water rates, sprinkler system?
The 40, well, they're the biggest water user in town. Of town offices. So, that was their increase. Zach did out what the increase on the water rates were going to be, and basically it's completely even just with the water rate increase on it. Is he walking out the door? So he can say it. I have an email from Zach saying that basically the increase is
Okay.
solely on the water rate increase.
And electric.
And the other one is the same thing, the electric increase.
All right. Okay, it's all the budget issues I had, going over the budget. As I said, we should go through our books. All subcommittees should have met. We'll get subcommittee reports next meeting, and we can vote on this budget. By then, I should have the school department. Blackstone Valley, I'm not gonna invite Mike in unless you want. The budget is in here. Our budget went down, or our assessment went down $50,000 this year.
How much?
50K. Chris and I had a long discussion with Mike about a number of things, what they're doing and how they're progressing. We voiced our concern about how we feel about students not being able to get into the school, that need to get to that space to learn a trade. And Mike said that he would talk to his, excuse me, his admissions people, and we suggested maybe they weight the different criteria for acceptance to the school. They go by grades, attendance, discipline, want, and then they have it, I'm sorry?
Attendance.
I said attendance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
And then they have an interview and, a letter of recommendation from the school principal. And then they're interviewed by the admissions people. So the question is, well, you know, if you have the grades, but you're a discipline problem, they may not get accepted because they don't meet all the criteria. So we asked if they should look at weighting the different criteria. And because kids that may have an attendance problem, that may be discipline problems, may not be motivated to go to school because they're not interested in the curriculum or the academics. They're more interested in being a tradesman. And so with an interview, they don't even get to the interview. So, you know, we're asking Mike to look into that and maybe set up or think about setting up a special group, okay, of kids that fall into that category that they can accept for the trades. You know, the plumber, the electrician, the auto mechanic and stuff. And so we're in discussion with that, and I think we've made some progress, I think, last time we met, all right? Because we do have kids that we're having trouble with in our system, and when you talk to the school department, they've already started putting in some sort of vocational program. That hotel management one is a vocational program, and, you know, I'm not sure that we want to sit here and spend $3 or $4 million in outfitting a vocational system in the high school that we got rid of a long, long time ago.
Can't if you want to.
No, we can if we get, we have to get acceptance from Blackstone that we do this. And we did with the hotel management one. I mean, they have it as well. So it's some questions.
Mark,
that
my
we have.
biggest concern is not a disciplined kid, my biggest concern is the kids who, and I take it personally, my father, he was not an academician.
Right.
He could not do well if you put him in an academic situation and had him test, but give him a tool. The man was an artist. We have a whole group of kids who want to be superb plumbers, electricians, all of this, but they don't have the grades because they're not academically inclined. And let's face it, to get into Blackstone today, you've got to be top of your class. Forget all the issues that you can control. And Aldo can speak to the discipline better than I can. But I'm thinking of the kid who can do, will do, wants to, and just doesn't do well academically. They'll never get a chance to be that super plumber, carpenter, or tradesman.
That's exactly what I just said. We've had a discussion, sir.
I just want to say one thing. With what you said, it's fine, but remember, there's still an academic component up there. It's split between the shops and academics, so a youngster is going there, he's still, or she's still going to need to have an academic program to work with.
Aldo, I agree, they can't get in without it.
You're absolutely right.
We're not gonna have cross discussions, Steve, okay? We're not. Chris and I were there, we saw what he's doing, and it's pretty impressive, some of that stuff.
Certainly is.
Anyhow, so we had the discussion. All right, next item I have is town meeting warrant. Everybody has a copy of the warrant, you've all printed it out, you've all read it, you've probably memorized it by now. We have a couple of issues. There are 45 articles on the warrant. A lot of which are typical annual articles that we deal with every year. There are a number of items on here that are significant dollars. About $657,000. There's article on here from the Personnel Board about changing the steps and the lanes and the number of levels. That needs significant discussion. I don't think we should discuss that until the selectmen get to review it and vote on it and approve it or not approve it. It may not even go if they don't approve it. So what I'd like to do is set up a series of meetings over the next couple of weeks to go through these articles, and by, I don't know, 2 weeks, we should have finalized budget numbers as well. So, what's the pleasure of the group?
You're gonna group, as you did the last time, all of the repeat articles annually.
I'll do the work, yes.
Okay, great. I'd like to do them just bang, bang, boom, and, instead of spreading it out over 3 weeks.
I'm with you, I
3
do.
days during the week
I
and
mean,
all.
we could do it in 2 nights. There's a couple on here that are gonna take some serious discussion.
I would love to knock off, Article 1, yes, boom, knock them
All the
down.
annuals.
And then, as Aldo says, boom, 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 get the easy ones out of the way that we have no, how many streets we're gonna vote, like always, refer to sponsor. Then set proper time, because things like going from 5 to 8 on the steps, I'd just like to know what
Oh,
are the
it's-
implications,
it's a-
because
it's a
if you
long
raise it
process.
up, then you're gonna have all the departments coming back saying, I can't lay somebody off, because now I have a .3 person.
It's more than that. It's more than just going from steps, increasing the number of levels and increasing the number of steps. It's more than that. Okay, so it needs a discussion.
But either way, it's gonna have a
Selectmen
major
have to-
impact.
It's selectmen's discussion first. We're not gonna vote on it unless they.
I agree.
Approve it. There's some other on here that are gonna take some time. Godfrey Brook is on here, and we sat down, and I guess Rick and team sat down today with some people and had a discussion. We will have that discussion, and all things being equal, the financial team laid out how we can afford to do this without any outside dollars. We do get $800,000 from FEMA, but, FEMA, but that's all we're gonna get. There are issues, there's a bond bill on the docket at the legislature. It's $4 million slated for Godfrey Brook. I'm not sure how much of that we're gonna get. They had a discussion with the state representative today and the senator. So I'll get that information. But we do have a plan to pay for that, because we don't have an option not to do it, unfortunately. I think that there are too many properties that are in jeopardy at this point in time, and they could add to lawsuits for the town and serious injury. So I think we have to get off the top dead center and do this. There's no question in my mind, but we will have the discussion here. So we have a number of articles that are gonna take some time. And so, you're right, I'll put together a list of all the annual ones. We can knock those off in one night, or maybe half a night, and then we can start doing some of these other ones. I'd like to get it all done. Town meeting is May 24th.
18th.
Okay, make it May 18th. And I'm sort of busy, like, the week and a half before that. And we need to get our report done by the end of April.
Any chance we do it on put a Saturday in there? and
We
get
can do
some-
whatever the pleasure of this group is.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Bob?
Thank you. I'm trying to follow the rules, Mr. Chairman.
Somebody is.
No,
Sometimes.
seriously,
I don't wanna
to
get
the
any
extent possible, could you please ask individual departments to send us information, background information, on these articles? It is not fair to us as a body, and it is not fair to the people we represent, to be given a plan at 7:15 at night and being asked to vote on it at 7:30 from a department or a group that has looked at it for a year and a half, 2 years. So, again, as an example, if we've got a plan for the implementation of the IT department, give it to us now. Let us do our due diligence, let us review it, give us time to review these packages, again, to the extent possible. And I know you support that because you've been an advocate of that for years yourself. Because it does help.
All right, the plans, the items that I think we need
Yeah.
up front are, you're right, the IT department, the plan for Godfrey Brook, it's a whole engineering plan. I mean, we're gonna see a presentation by Bonnie and Scott. A plan for the personnel board, Article 2. It's a good-sized document.
Is it an executive summary or something to that?
See, right away, you want the dumbed-down version.
Both ways.
Can't have it both ways, Bob. You either get it all or you don't.
Give the whole thing to me.
Is that gonna be part of Article 2, that change,
That is Article 2. That's,
with the step changes?
it's with the changes.
what you're looking at right now in the warrant.
Yeah, it's Article 2.
So
Yeah, but it doesn't give an explanation of why they're doing this and what the impact is going to be overall.
Clarification, we haven't
Okay.
seen the presentation.
We sat at a meeting to go through this. All the other money articles are fairly straightforward. There's very little that need any more explanation than we wanna spend the money, see you later, Bob. Those three, though, are important,
Yeah, good.
and I will make sure we get those.
Thank you.
Okay, so we still need to come up with some meetings, guys.
What about the CIC article?
Yeah, that's on there.
Do we need to discuss that?
Oh, yes, we do.
That's gonna take us.
Gonna take a little bit of time. But it's laid out here, so we know exactly what to do. And the town council will be around too. Okay, I need dates. Let's come up with dates.
I suggest next Wednesday as a starter, since we're on Wednesday.
14, 16, 18.
That's 14, 16, and Saturday is the 18th.
That's right.
Can't be on TV on Saturday. Can we be on TV on Saturday, TV guy?
If he wants to work Saturday.
We'll have to look into that.
Time and a half.
The voice from beyond.
Good time to have,
That'd be tough.
good time to have a
We
meeting.
can talk about this when we're all done. Is there any new business?
Mr. Chairman, and you can tell me whether you want to defer it. I was given a plan by the cemetery department. We had also talked to them about looking into the North Purchase Cemetery, and they had come up with the numbers on what that would do to their budget in order to do that. So whether we want to go to the next meeting or
What was submitted, standard budget?
the standard budget. And they also has given me an alternative budget, and
I think we should talk about that at the next meeting when we do budgets.
Okay.
Do we wanna have them in?
I was gonna have him come in tonight and do it on a new business, but I'll have him come in next time. It's pretty straightforward, but I would like to have Jamie come in, but,
Alright.
so if you can add it to the agenda.
Yep.
It should be quick, and I think it would address a lot of the problems that we've talked about.
All right, next meeting, I wanna approve budgets.
Are you gonna have school budget by that
We're
time?
gonna have the school budget by that time, we're gonna have the IT budget by that time. Pick a date.
14?
All right, I'm sorry.
15.
Any old business? I lost my head. Anything else to discuss? I need a motion.
Sure.
I thought you wanted to set the dates.
We'll do that after.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Mark, roll the Wednesday.